It's been a minute. It's been wild, and I'm so super appreciative of you sticking with me in all of this. So it's been almost a year since I've created content consistently, and a lot has happened since then in the last 12 months. And so I'm sharing with you very, very vulnerably and honestly, probably the most raw I've ever done this before, on what has all happened up to this point and what's new and what's changed and what I've learned in between. Because here's the thing, for years I've made content, I've led, I've taught, I've encouraged, I've inspired, and we can only take others as far as we've gone ourselves. And so what I've learned in these last 12 months is that healing happens in layers. It's like a spiral, and it takes you all the way down to core. And there will always be something that we can work on, that we can aspire to understand, to connect more. And there's always the more factor. And here's what I've realized in everything I've been through in the past 12 months. Life does not happen to you, life happens for you. And let me tell you that it is the hardest thing to understand when you're in the thick of it, when you're in the mud, when you're in the dark, when life is just throwing shit at you. And you got to figure out how to navigate it. And that's where I've realized that that's where I am meant to lead. I am meant to lead in areas that most people find themselves drowning. I know this because I myself have drowned in many different parts of my life this year until I figured out how to swim, and now just making it like Michael Phelps. And so in the last 12 months, I've gone through so much that I feel like I've lived 10 lives. And in 2021, I lost my father in 3 months, and I had a front row seat watching him die. And I was the one that watched him die in the hospital. And having a front row seat to view death makes me realize that the hard part is living. Death is peaceful. Death is a coming home. And so I share this because the hardest thing among everything I've been through this year is becoming my mother's full-time caretaker. And it's a whole new level for me. It's a whole new level of maturity, because maturity equals responsibility, and the level of responsibility you have and how you hold it, who you are, what you say, what you do, and how you move while doing it is who you are. It's your identity, and identity is only cemented when it's tested. And this entire year has literally just tested me on the identity of asking me, is this who you want to be? Is this who you are? Is this in alignment? Is this in integrity for what you are leading others on? And it's a paradigm shift, because what we've seen in this industry of self-development and healness and wellness is a lot of people that will share with you the how-to, the 1, 2, 3, ABC, do this, do that. But rarely do we see somebody that's actually going to share, actually, when I was in the thick of it, when I was going through my dark soul of the night, my dark spots, my shadows, here's what actually I did, and here's what I discovered. And that's my goal with this entire process now moving forward, is that I lead from a place of the most up integrity I can, that I am aware of in my full awareness. And here's what I'm realizing, that somebody can have a whole bunch of self-awareness, but if they don't have that accountability and that action behind it to make the changes and make them sustainable and consistent, you're only just talking. You're not walking the walk. And so this year has been 100% my graduation exam, so to say, hey Z, we're graduating you in this thing called life to another level of receiving, another level of abundance. But first, we have to see what you do when you're stripped of everything. First, we have to see what you do when you are forced to show who you are, when you have nothing left. And it's so beautiful because that's literally what's happened. And so becoming my mother's full-time caretaker just recently, just 2 months, has changed my world upside down. And mainly because I've had a very complicated relationship with my mother my entire life. My mom has had a very, very layered experience of traumatic experiences in her life, and it very much formulated how she raised me and my sisters. And so I've been forced to look at it with so much clarity that it has encouraged me and invited me to understand that clarity is kindness. Kindness is clarity. And the more clarity I've had, the more I can be kind, because being nice can absolutely be manipulative. But I'm not looking to be nice. I'm looking to be kind with myself, to be kind with my mother, to be kind in the entire experience. And every day I'm challenged, every single day. And my mom, she has dementia, and it's life-changing to me, because sometimes I have to very, very, very carefully navigate, like, is this a personality trait? Is this a pattern? Is this something that's reoccurring even before signs of dementia? Or is this sincerely something that she's just forgetting, something that she's just not aware of, that she's just not calculating anymore? And so I've not only been invited to and pulled into becoming full-time with no exits, my full-time caretaker, nurturer, and mother, but also my mom's mom. And it's been wild. It's been the hardest thing I've ever had to do. And I thought watching my dad die in 3 months was hard. No, Lord Jesus, this has been the hardest thing I've ever had to do, because with dementia, it's a very slow grief. It's in every single day you're losing someone that you used to know, and they're becoming someone else. They're working to fully try their best to remember something and to make sense of things that may not make sense for them anymore. And I'm navigating that every single day. And to be honest with you, I'm still trying to find what kind of support makes sense for it, what kind of team I need for that. And it's hard because, given the background I have, but also given the awareness I have of different factors, it's not as easy as saying, oh, we'll just go to a support group, or just, go to this and that, because there's so many revolving factors. And so there's something so beautiful in the not knowing, but also knowing that this is painfully growing me into a new woman, into a new person, into a new level. And it's wild that I thought, at the beginning of the year, like, this is going to be a tough year, but I had no idea how tough 2025 was going to be. This is the hardest year of my life, just because of the layers. And so at the beginning of the year, I began the year without partnership. I decided in late 2024 that the relationship that I was in romantically wasn't the best fit, given various factors. And although we left each other with love and, understanding, I didn't feel it was a complete match in order to further commit my time, my energy into that relationship. And it was extremely painful. It was extremely painful because when things fit so well in certain areas of a relationship, it just feels odd, where most people would look at it and say, like, but this works, like, this is great, like, this is what most people would say is functional and healthy and loving and compatible, which is true. But there's just something inside me, and it's my intuition, it's that sharp edge I have that knows that if it's not a complete fit in the most important parts of my life, then lovingly it's still a no. It either has to be a whole body heck yes, or it's a no. And it's one of the hardest tests I had in these last 12 months, because had I stayed, it would have been self-abandonment. It would have been leaving parts of me unattended. It would have been parts of me knowing that I wouldn't be able to show up as the best partner for that individual. And that was very, very, very difficult to understand over time, that it was a very teachable moment for me to go to the next level. And we don't get what we want, we get who we are. And so in partnership, it's also an opportunity, an open door for me to understand what it is that I need as a woman, what I need as a future mother, what I need as a future wife, what I need as somebody that's, holding different things in my hands, a business, being a caretaker, being a sibling, being somebody that leads others, being a woman that's surrounded by responsibilities at different levels, and who I want to show up as. And so it's very much inviting me to share this with others very vulnerably, that this shit's hard. This shit is way hard. And after that breakup, very shortly after, I filed for bankruptcy. And months ago, I had a different feeling about it. I was like, man, does this mean that I'm irresponsible? Does this mean that I just didn't see the red flags? Does this mean that I gave without boundaries? And the conclusion is that I think it's all of that and a lot more. And it's wild to me that, as I went through that process, there was this freedom, this liberation that came from it, that whatever it is that you fear in life, and once it happens to you, and you live through it and you get through it and you're on the other side of it, you're just like, oh, that's it? Like, this is it? That's it? It's not that bad. It's kind of like, fearing, like, as women, when we go get waxed and it's like, oh, they're about to take it off. It's gonna hurt. Yeah, it's gonna hurt, but after it's done, it's done. And that's how I feel about this, I feel like I could have made different decisions. And I also know that I made a decision, and I knew that in that moment, that was the best option for me, and that was the best choice, and I don't regret it. I think at this point, that was the brightest, smartest, most strategic option I could have done. And, in going through the process of bankruptcy, I learned so much. I learned that people file bankruptcy every single day, and they file it for different reasons. People file bankruptcy sometimes without even knowing like what's going to happen, but they move in the urgency of knowing what needs to get done. During the classes I was taking that, they mandatorily ask you to do during bankruptcy, I met a woman, and she shared with me that she was just piled in on medical bills after a car accident. And I thought to myself, wow, that was a change in her life in that moment, and it just flipped from one day to another. And then she's like, and then I woke up and I was just drowning in medical bills. And I thought to myself, life is really a box of chocolates. Like, you don't know what you're going to get. And that's what it's teaching me, the resilience level. It's teaching me there's power in vulnerability, and also owning it. So somebody can't drag you with your own story. It's like, nah, honey, I own my story. So when someone asks me like, what makes you so qualified to lead me? Nothing. Nothing except the fact that I will be deeply, deeply, uncomfortably honest with you to the core, to where in vulnerability I share with you everything I've been through in life, so that the resilience level and the courage and the honesty are of the utmost importance when you work with somebody, when you allow and are given the opportunity and the honor of leading somebody, whether it's leading your family, leading your kids, leading yourself as a woman in her power that does not abandon herself. That has been my lesson. And after I filed bankruptcy, I experienced homelessness. It was like a domino effect. Like, one thing led to another. And let me tell you, that taught me so much, because I had to, turn in my car, my luxury car. I had to turn in, everything. I surrendered. I literally had everything I had materialistic surrendered and taken. And it was so that God could show me who I am when I have myself and my faith, who I am in the thick of it, who I am when I have nothing, so that I know who I am when I am given abundance, when I am given everything, when I am given even more than is what is expected, so that I am a good steward of it when I am given that opportunity. That's what it's doing. It's testing me to see, am I the woman that I say that I am? Identity is not cemented until it is tested. And so this entire year has just been that. And I sit in this empty room, and that's why you probably hear an echo, but I sit in this empty room and I share this with you because that's sincerely just what this is. And so after I experienced that, I humbled myself, and had to ask myself, what is it that I really need? And I've always been a minimalist, but going through bankruptcy, going through the breakup, and I was living with my partner in their home. And so it was hard because I moved a total in these last 12 months 5 times. I moved in 3 states. It was wild. And there's so much more I'm going to share about this experience just because it's completely radically changed me. I haven't worn makeup probably in close to a year. I'm the most comfortable I've ever been in my skin than I ever have. And I still love, doing my hair. I still love, beating my face and just, my background as a makeup artist for years. But I share this because there's nothing like being emotionally naked, but also knowing that it's the authentic part of us. That whether I'm all dolled up or whether I'm not, I am still me. I am still this woman when I show up. It's integration. There's so much that's happened after that, and after I experienced the homelessness and living, with family and even learning more and more about family, letting go of illusions of who I thought certain family members were and allowing myself to actually see without any blinders on, without any rose-colored glasses, who they are and who they are showing up or lack of when requested, when asked, when a hand of support is rendered. Man, this year alone has taught me more than any other experience could have taught me, more than any other mentor or coach. It's literally just allowing and surrendering and knowing what the opposite of control is, which is just faith. It's literally allowing that surrendering part, and it's painful. It's not cute, it's not pretty, it's painful. I took 2 months off social media because there was just so much on my plate. I couldn't do it. I couldn't show up with concentration because there was so many spinning plates I had. And so after I had all these experiences, I literally one night asked God, do what you will with me. And so I asked God, what do you think I should spend my time on moving forward? Allow me to be a vessel. Where can I serve the best? And everywhere I looked for opportunities or places to serve didn't work out. It was like one dead road after another. And I kept asking myself, what is God saving me for? What am I being reserved for, right? What am I supposed to work on? Oddly enough, one thing led to another. And before I knew it, I was my mom's full-time caretaker. I had I wouldn't say an estranged relationship with my mom, but a very complicated one, to where after my father has passed, my mom has been in decline thereafter, but we haven't had much communication. My mom's not really one to reach out or call. And so if my sisters and I reach out, it's a bit difficult, to have the back and forth with effective communication. And so I share this, that, I called my mom one day and I asked her how she was doing, and there was this intuition inside me that just felt like something was off, something wasn't right. And so I met with my mom in person, and I asked her to meet me in the city I was living in at the time because I didn't have a car anymore. I rode the bus for months, and that was a great adventure too. Never in my life, I realized something. I always had a car, but never ever in my life did I ever have to take the bus. Lord Jesus, let me tell you, I learned a lot. Oh, I learned a lot. And that's been my life, really. Just through pain, I learn. And after that, I have so much more empathy and compassion and patience for so many things, even just pedestrians, because when you don't have a car and you're walking everywhere, you notice everything. So I share this with you, that I meet with my mom in person, and my mom is just really declining and things are not adding up. I'm asking my mom certain questions and I can't help but notice the decline is very impactful. It's there. I can't ignore it anymore. And so I asked my mom if she would be willing to have me help her with one specific task, something that she needed to do in Mexico. And she goes, sure, okay, let's do it. And so when I go with her, I spend a couple days with her. Ooh, it hit me. And I'm like, my mom needs somebody to look after her. Like this, she can't do this right now on her own. And so I moved into my mom's home that was, my family's home for years. And it's always been a thing. My mom has always been, always had a behavior of hoarding. My mom has always had difficulty in daily functioning given the space that she has. And so I share this, that in living with my mom, very quickly, in a week, I discovered mold in the house. Man, whew, that was the beginning of this whole situation. When I discovered the mold in the house, it was bad. It was so bad that everything clicked for me. And I was like, that's my mom's cough that won't go away. Got it. That's the smell I've been smelling that I couldn't put my finger on even after I took the trash out, even after I cleaned. Like I couldn't put my finger on it. Well, fast forward 2 weeks, I discovered that 65% of the house has mold. And I have an assessor come out, do a report, and it's pretty bad. There's 3 strands of mold in the house, and it's very matured. It's very matured. And we are definitely encouraged to move out as soon as possible. And so I talk with my mom, and I tell her that, the very few options we have is to pretty much sell the home as is, given different factors. And there was a lot of tears, there was a lot of yelling, and a lot of I don't understand and why. And we finally came to an agreement to sell the house. And we were just blessed with such an amazing, amazing people that one night I just cried. I broke down in the shower and I just cried. I wailed. Like I cried more than I had ever cried since my dad died. Ugh. And I just asked God to send us people that would help. And that's what happened. We got really amazing realtors. We got amazing investors that bought the house. And I'm even tearing up because it's been really, really hard. It's been very hard. And the evaluation for the home left us with very few options, given that the home was in Southern California. And so we made a very difficult decision, my mom and I, to move out of state. And so we moved to a different state, and I'll let you guess what state we're in now, but it's definitely been an adjustment. It's been such a huge change and adjustment, even in the weather, in the time zone, in the community, in services, in medical care for my mom, in creating a new normal. Every single day I'm waking up and I'm, looking at this and I'm like, this is my new normal. This is my new normal. I'm reminding myself, and there's so much beauty in it as well, because this feels like a new chapter in the book. This feels like a wonderful opportunity to be able to heal the parts of the mother wound inside my lineage. Going all the way down to great grandmothers, and asking my mom on a daily certain questions that are very healing to the experience, that when you don't have the full mothering experience from, great grandmother to grandmother, from grandmother to mother, and then mother to me, I can see it so clearly. It's baffling. My channeling abilities have grown so much as well, to where I just sit in awe sometimes, and I think to myself, wow, it's so obvious now to me that this is an opportunity. This is an opportunity to heal, to connect, to be able to have a different pattern than what used to be there. And this is what most individuals that come and ask me questions, or they ask to work with me, and they're like, Z, What do I do from here? And the answer is only you will know. Like, you are your guide, you are your guru, you are your map, you are your direction. And I share this because that's what I've had to fully embrace and fully integrate from top to bottom for myself, to where I'm not outsourcing my power in any single capacity. Every single day I am tested on that. Every single day I'm asked, like, but are you that woman that says it will be done, period? No excuses, extreme accountability, say less. It will be done. As I become my mother's, caretaker, her nurse, her teacher, her lawyer, her admin, her everything, really. And it's beautiful because it's given me the opportunity more than anything to understand that my capacity expanded. If I had this much capacity, for love, I have this much more. If I have this much capacity for, things that life throws at me, I have a whole much more capacity. And it's beautiful because who you become in the process of what life throws at you is your calling card. It is your business card. It is your trademark. Because at the end of the day, no matter where somebody puts you, no matter where you end up in the world, in a circumstance, may you rise. May you show exactly who it is that you have become. And so I share this once again in vulnerability, that there's been so many nights that I'm angry. Like, I feel my anger, I feel my rage as to why things are the way they are in my family. Why are family individuals not the characters I grew up with, and coming out of illusion, coming into reality to really see individuals not for who I want them to be, but for who they are. True and utter acceptance. It's not cute, it's not pretty, it's very ugly. It's crushing to the soul, because then you're like, ouch, whew. What I thought was reality is not reality. And everything goes back to nothing. Everything that I thought mattered, everything can be fixed. Everything can be fixed except death and taxes, right? I have learned that from day one. And I'm so excited for this chapter because this is only going to make things better. This is only going to make things even more clear, even more straight out what it is. It's not a, here's what I hope happens. Here's who I hope comes and saves me, or comes and saves my mom, because it's me and her against the world. Like, nah. What it is here's what we have at hand. Here's what we deal with on a daily basis. And let's deal with that moment by moment, day by day. And this is what has made me so much stronger than I was 12 months ago. Because now whatever is thrown at me, I take a quick, big breath, a big kumbaya, and I run it. I literally run it. Because this is what I have learned that showing up for yourself looks like. And it's been a lot of nights of praying, a lot of nights of contemplation, a lot of nights of strategy, a lot of nights of just utter compassion. Literally just having compassion for myself in the moment, with my mom, with the situation, with family, with trying to get from one thing to another in literally just survival. So going from survival, then to strategy and understanding, and then abundance. Regardless, no matter what, God is good all the time. So I'm just excited to let you know a little bit about what's happened these months. And if you're interested, let me know if you'd like to hear more, and specifically in detail about the move, about what it's like to be somebody's caretaker full-time that has dementia, what it's like to be a business owner and have life throw what you absolutely never thought would happen at you, and what you do in those moments, what it's like to cement the identity of the woman you would like to become. Okay, bye, see you.